start talking. The Exalted Land of Andor is the title of a piece by Ezekiel Kralin, Krahlin. He is the proprietor of a few websites, like half a dozen websites. He's written a couple of books. He's relatively famous, and he's been writing to me on a regular basis, and I think he's kind of interesting. zeekblog.wordpress.com is one place to go, and also gay-bible.org is another one of his websites. So that Ezekiel Kralin writes, July is the best time of year to visit the Lilliputian nation of Andor, for they celebrate their Independence Day, July 1, all month long. The Andorians, descendants of the Basque people, were separated due to a disagreement over whether or not to allow AIDS carriers into their territory. The Basques, located in the Pyrenees Mountains between France and Spain, aggravated this dilemma by attempting to push all suspected homosexuals and or lesbians into the Bay of Biscay. The entire Andorian populace, totaling just and or only 144,000 males and or females, rose to the occasion in defense of brotherly and or sisterly love and beat off and or creamed the attacking majority of breeders and or homophobes. Radio Free Andor claims that the potential and or conceivable casualties and or victims of both sides withdrew before any blood and or other vital fluids could be lost. Thus, and or therefore, and or hence, making their sudden secession and or revolution the first peaceful one in Iberian and or world history. Non-Andorian and or non-Basque tourists who served as unbiased and or non-partisan witnesses claimed that the Andorians and or gay Basque houses won because of a clever and or Trojan-like strategy to stockpile surplus artillery and or munitions in their bulging basquettes and or chests. Basquettes. The Andorian cottage and or village industry is renowned for its beautiful baskets and or chests, traditionally worked with one of the artisan's left and or right hands in his and or her lap and or that of the apprentice. Some historians and or Zeekralinologists claim that this tradition and or practice originated from the Laplanders, who kept falling into Andorian baskets and or chests on their migration and or march north, where they could settle and or eke a living without being persecuted for their love of reindeer and or packed snow and or sperm oil. Another reason and or explanation why they were traveling north in the first place and or originally was because at one time and or another the European continent and or landmass tilted and or sloped from south to north and or southeast to northwest and or south-southeast to north-northwest, while the Laplanders were mounting their sleighs and or reindeer. Since the origin of the Basques remains shrouded and or hidden in prehistory and or before they knew how to write, likewise and or also must the roots and or seed of Andor remain buried in a misty and or questionable gap in the annals and or bowels of antiquity. A curious note and or point of fact in the Andorian royal and or court archives is that Andor never claimed to be ruled and or governed by a queen, though one would tend to raise an eyebrow and or two when considering and or viewing the royal wardrobe, a wide and or copious variety of expensive furs and or stoles, said rationale and or excuse being for the cold, mountainous air of winter and or going to the opera. The territory and or span of Andor is a mere and or meager 69 square meters of virgin and or undefiled parquet floors, hence the many signs and or notices, slippery and or slick when wet, equal and or equivalent to 2,716.53 square feet and or roughly 1/2 of a square mile. Is that right? That doesn't look right. All Andor-ogenous zones and or territorial boundaries are demarcated by straight lines and or lines of straits from which the national pastime and or recreation slap and or pinch the butt of a border guard and or sentry arose. Fortunately and or thank God, Andor's population and or citizenry, alias and or aka Andoroids, numbers and or is about 144,000, and housing for each one and or every Andorian was easily accommodated and or provided by the erection of one grand and or luxurious condominium complex and or hotel with 53 restaurants and or cafes, 192 bars and or lounges, 18,422 vibrating Greek statues and or sculptures and or busts, 271 dog grooming emporiums, 422 barbershops and or hairstyling salons, 6,001 paraphernalia and or sex toy shops, 310 different flavors of Perrier, and one live white unicorn and or little silver pony with a horn, free to roam the premises and or grounds, often seen and or merrily splashing and or cavorting in the numerous marble fountains and or spas overflowing with aqua vita and or divine semen, to mention only a few and or several of the many wonders and or miracles that daily and or every 24 hours bless this great and or incredible city-state of Andor. This leaves the rest of the land open and or available for disco dancing and or hopscotch, for which reason and or purpose the floor tiles are laid with alternating and or staggered shades of hot pink and or fuchsia and jet-set black and or ebony. Andor's national flag was inspired and or stolen from the flag of America and or the USA and or US of A, in that it too and or also has 13 and or 7 plus 6 alternating red and white stripes and or bars, with a large dark and or navy blue patch in the upper right and or left, depending on which way you view it, corner. Only instead of 50 stars and or pentagrams, Andor's flag proudly and or snobbishly displays 50 white and or pink princess phones, the exact number and or amount of telephones required for each Andorian residents per their Declaration and or Manifesto of Independence and or Liberty and or Freedom and or Fun. But, and or however, on one side of the bottommost and or lowest stripe are these inspiring and or rousing words: dial now and or later, guys are waiting. On the other side are the equivalent and or similar words for dykes: dial now and or later, gals are waiting. We hope on your way and or trip from one great and or famous European and or world capital to another, that you do find and or discover the time and or inclination to visit and or reside in the first new nation and or state to be born of the new and or Aquarian age, Andor and or New Greece, N-U-G-R-E-E-C-E, all capital letters there. Visa and or MasterCard are welcome, as are the currencies of Spain, France, and or Monopoly, and or his own currency depicts and or shows a circle of unicorns dancing around the motto and or slogan, E pluribus unicornum, and a portrait of the first horse to land on the moon, Captain Randy Seabiscuit and or Soup Cracker. Statuettes and or miniature dolls of Captain Randy Seabiscuit and or Soup Cracker available in any of Andor's 78 souvenir and or gift shops, with and or without accessories and or appurtenances such as golden bridle and or harness, four-legged equestrian and or horsey spacesuit, bale of hay and or bag of oats, groats and or love notes, space capsule, Mr. Ed and I, and his sidekick, Little Pony and or Buddy, with and or without plastic raincoat and or moon glasses. Engraved and or etched with neon pink and or lime green and or metallic and or bright silver, Andorian and or New Greek currency is not only a delight and or pleasure to spend, but makes great decorations and or ornamentation for wedding cakes and or honeymoon suite wallpaper and or bow ties. The end and or finis and or that's all, folks. I can't do that Porky Pig, that's all, folks thing, but that's obviously what this is meant to sound like. It's th dash, that's all, folks. It's a sort of a stuttering kind of a sing-song and a high-pitched sort of rattling sort of a, you know,